Hey everyone, Steve Kane, owner of Southmart Studio. This is another behind the scenes look of how I got that shot. Today we're looking at one of my favorite portrait images. I call this one Guitar Hero. Even though it looks like a rock concert scene, it was actually shot here in my studio. So what we're going to talk about today is how to do a shot like that in a small space like this. So the first thing I did to create this environment was set up a small platform in the studio for the guitar player to stand on. Brought in a few props. She brought her favorite guitar. I brought in a mic on a boom stand. We didn't bother with audio equipment, stage things that weren't going to be seen in the shot. I did set up a couple of studio lights with red gels pointing towards the camera with the intent of creating some lens flare. To light the subject, I actually had a gridded spot just to camera right, aiming at her, and brought in a bunch of high school students to be part of the audience. So when we started to actually do the shoot, we had some music playing, wanted to get everybody into the mood, get the performer moving up on stage, get the students rocking out to the music we had playing. I knew because of her long flowing hair, we wanted to do some hair flip images. One of the precautions we had to take was make sure she wasn't going to whack her head on the microphone. Came close a couple of times. Another little detail we added was having one of the students record the whole thing on his cell phone. So I have the cell phone image showing of the performance as it's happening, just to add some authenticity. We actually took about 12 frames before the subject got a bit dizzy from all the hair flips. But in those 12 frames, we got enough of what we needed. Let's have a quick look at some of the raw shots of what was going on as I was shooting and she was performing. This just gives you an idea of how I set up the studio, created as much black backdrop as possible. Obviously, didn't have enough sheets to cover the entire thing, but that gave us the baseline shot that I started with to create the final image. So then we brought the basic image into Photoshop. You can see here I've already cropped it, cloned more black into the background to get rid of the white wall that was showing. Some of the basic enhancements were contrast, saturation. One thing that I didn't get was the type of lens flare I was looking for during the shoot. I wasn't too concerned with that because I knew I could enhance it in Photoshop after the fact. So there's my lens flare enhancement that I did. There's a bit too much light for my liking on the crowd in front, so I just did some dodging and burning to create the focus more on the performer. You'll notice I didn't have a big spotlight here. That was something I decided to add in Photoshop afterwards, more because I didn't have the studio space to set up the entire stage lighting scenario. So what I did was brought that in as a separate layer, just a separate file that I found online. The trick here is the blending mode to make it look authentic. I use the lighten blending mode so that it blends with the other image instead of overpowering it. And then some final retouches to contrast and saturation, and there is our final image. And basically that's how I created this in-studio version of a rock concert portrait. That's all for this episode of Behind the Scenes How I Got That Shot. Next time we're going to take a look at a unique outdoor portrait. Thanks for watching.